What's your pre-production checklist?
Whew. I don't storyboard a lot. Certainly having a shot list. I mean, certainly speaking to every head of department well in advance. And I got to say, if you're acting in it and you're the director, you got to do twice as much work, because you kind of need to make sure that there are people who will be honest with you about whether you're getting what you need for the edit room. Because it doesn't matter if it's you, right? At the end of the day, you're going to be in an edit suite 6 months or 2 years down the line, and you're going to be watching your leading man. And if he hasn't given you enough material to work with, you're going to hate him, even if it's you. So what I had to do really was tell my, my unit production manager, tell my cinematographer, tell all the heads of department, pretty much, this is what I need from my performance. And I'm going to be so caught up answering a million questions, but just make sure I'm doing what I said I was going to do, and writing it down on a piece of paper so we're very clear. I need to have these beats because I'm going to be in the edit suite later, and I'm going to hate myself if I didn't do it. So that's just an extra complication if you're performing in it. But I think the best advice is that you do a lot of your directing beforehand. You go in there and you've got it all kind of mapped out. It's going to change on the day, and sometimes those are the best accidents. But the more you can do to prepare, the more free you are on the day to play. That's what I've found. Yeah.
So you invited them to be tough on you, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and you got to be honest. Sometimes I do a pretty bad take, or I'd be in the edit suite and I think, let's just be honest, it's not working. So if you can't have that kind of candor, you shouldn't act in your own film, because you're inviting criticism by doing that. So yeah, honesty from the beginning, super important, really important. But I looked at a lot of, directors who had directed themselves, like Ben Affleck, who has done it brilliantly. He had a really good point, which was that when you're on set, you're not actually self-indulgent. You actually go into this sort of faux modesty, which is, let's get all the other people's coverage first, and let's really get, say it's Sierra, the female lead in the film. Let me really make sure I've got her performance. Let me spend all my time on that. And then, time's getting short and you're like, oh, well, let's just quickly do my take. Let's just do one or two and just bang it out. And he just had this great point. He was like, no, don't be false modest. Don't be like, oh, I just need one take, just quickly do it. Like, if you need 5 takes, do it. Because eventually you're going to be in the edit suite looking at yourself, and you're going to be angry if you didn't have enough coverage and didn't give yourself enough options. So treat yourself like any actor. Make sure you get what you need. So you have to compartmentalize. It's a pretty crazy thing when you're acting in it too, but you have to be able to compartmentalize and just see, hey, this is an actor who happens to be me, giving me the raw materials I need for the edit. So it's tough. It is tough.
Because you also played Julian, another version of Julian, sort of.
That's right.
In the film.
Yeah, and Sierra plays herself. So our performances are always kind of walking the line between who we really are and who these characters are. So it was a bit of a head trip. So being very open and communicative with everyone was important.
And what kind of notes would they give you when they wanted another take from you? Just blunt, like, hey, let's do that again? Or what would they say?
Yeah, for sure. My producer on set, AJ Gordon, would just be like, hey man, I'm not sure if I was feeling that one. Were you in that? And I'd be like, maybe not. Maybe I was at 90%. Let's try and get to 100. So just that kind of shorthand, not about being critical, but also just making sure you have coverage, just the practicality of it. Even when you're shooting in a documentary style and it's quite verite and quite kinetic and raw, you still have to make sure you got all those elements you're going to need in the edit suite. So I think the more experienced you get, the more you're able to backtrack from the edit suite, where you're eventually going to end up. So, you can project into that space and think, okay, what raw materials do I need? And kind of work back from there. Yeah.